Hello friends, today I have come up with a different topic, that is corrosion of metal. In this video, we will learn the basics of corrosion, basic concepts that is used in the corrosion. Now, most of the metal occur in the combined state in the nature. The pure metals, that is in the isolated form, will have always a higher energy, and we can say that it is thermodynamically unstable. So what does metals do is that will try to combine to form some other compounds. This process is nothing but known as corrosion. That is the deterioration of the metal by some unwanted chemical or electrochemical attack by the environment is called as corrosion. If you see this, metal upon corrosion will form a metallic compound that will release some amount of energy. It means that metal, when it becomes metallic compound, it will have a lower energy, so it will tend to go into the combined state. So the corrosion is the very easy process because it is at metallic compound is at lower energy state. Whereas in the metallurgy, where we extract metal from its ores, that is metallic compound, from metallic compound we are extracting the metal, that which you call it as a metallurgy. In this we need to give energy. So the extraction, the process of extraction of metal, that involves energy, whereas the combination, that is metal is converting into metallic compound, involves the metallic compound will have a lower energy. The energy will be, it is an exothermic reaction, you can say that energy will be released and it will be thermodynamically stable as compared with that of the pure metal. Now, corrosion is an oxidation process. So what is oxidation? Oxidation is nothing but loss of electron. So all the metal will tend to increase its positive charge on that, or it may lose electrons to form the corresponding oxides or chlorides or sulfate, nitrate by combining with other materials. Metal loses its strength on corrosion. It increases the production and maintenance cost, loss in efficiency, and very high losses occur due to corrosion throughout the world, and it costs several billion dollars annually. So it is very necessary to find out the cause of corrosion and take the prevention measures to stop the process of corrosion. You can see some of the examples here where the corrosion taking place. Now, there are different theories based on corrosion. Mainly, there are two basic theories, dry corrosion and wet corrosion. Dry corrosion is also known as chemical corrosion. From the name itself, it is clear that dry corrosion means in absence of water, the corrosion is taking place. The second one is the wet corrosion, that is electrochemical corrosion. In presence of some or the other liquid, the corrosion is taking place. So we call it as electrochemical corrosion or wet corrosion. Now let us first understand in detail the dry corrosion process, that is chemical corrosion process. The dry corrosion occurs through direct chemical attack of gases like oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, sulfur dioxide, chlorine, etc. on the surface of the metal. Now, again, there can be two different categories. One is the corrosion by oxygen specifically, which you call it as oxidation corrosion, and corrosion by other gases also. So, and even anhydrous liquids also causes corrosion. So, all these three categories we will discuss in detail. At first, corrosion by oxygen. This is also known as oxidation corrosion, as I have explained earlier also in the previous slide. In the absence of moisture, oxygen attacks metal to form corresponding oxides. Mainly alkali metals and alkaline earth metals are highly reactive, okay, because it can easily get oxidized. It can lose its electron to get the noble gas configuration. So that will try to lose easily, and it is very highly reactive towards oxygen even at the room temperature also. Even other metals like silver, gold, and platinum, they are also oxidized, but at high temperatures. Now, let us discuss the mechanism. In the mechanism of oxidation corrosion, metal loses its electron, and these electrons will react with oxygen to form corresponding oxide ions, and metal ions, this is the metal ion, these metal ions will react with this oxide ions. Metal ions plus oxide ions gives the metal oxide. This is the basic mechanism of oxidation corrosion. The nature of the metal oxide decides for the rate of the corrosion reaction. Now, even it depends upon the nature of the metal oxide that is formed. So let us discuss one by one. If the metal oxide is stable, that is, the stable metal oxide is formed by heavy metals, the layer formed behaves like a protective coating. Let us understand it by a diagram picture. Here, this is the metal. This is the exposed surface of the metal. Now, it is exposed to oxygen and it is reacting with oxygen to form corresponding metallic oxide. That is, the part of metal is converted completely into metallic oxide, and that will be, this layer will protect this metal. Okay, so we can say that there is no corrosion, because only one layer is destroyed, and that one layer will be so stable that metal will be protected. For example, if we take copper, aluminum is a common example. We know that aluminum is reactive and it will form aluminum oxide. Aluminum oxide is so protective in nature, so that we even use it in kitchen utensils also, because aluminum oxide is a protective layer and it prevents further aluminum inner layer to get oxidized. Okay, so the examples for such type of layer formation, stable layer formation, is nothing but copper and aluminum. Now, in case if the oxide layer formed is unstable, what happens is it decomposes back to metal and oxygen. See, this is the metal and it is exposed to oxygen. It is reacting with oxygen and a layer of metal oxide is formed. Now, this metal oxide is unstable. It means that it cannot exist in the form of oxide and it will decompose to further form metal and oxygen back. So the metal that we have considered here is again, we are getting it back and oxygen will be removed. So here such type of reaction, such type of corrosion occurs generally in the metals like gold, silver, platinum. This forms unstable oxide layer and the metal will be protected, because this unstable metal oxide layer will further give back the metal that has reacted to form oxide. So in the previous two cases, there is no corrosion. In the first case, the layer was so protective that it stopped further corrosion process of the inner part of the metal. And in the second case, the layer formed was so unstable that removed of oxygen and we got the metal back. So both those methods were very protective in nature. Now, the third one is volatile. Volatile means the oxide layer that is formed is volatile in nature. That is, it volatilizes as soon as it is formed. So here is a metal. It is exposed to oxygen. We are getting metal oxide. But this metal oxide that is formed is very volatile, very much volatile in nature. So what happens is this will get volatilized and the fresh surface will be exposed to further attack, and after some time the whole metal oxide will be volatilized off. Such type of oxide layer, volatile oxide layer, will form in the case of molybdenum and tungsten. Molybdenum oxide, that is MO, oxygen MOO3, that and tungsten oxide both are volatile in molybdenum trioxide and tungsten oxide, both are volatile in nature, and that will be removed off completely. That will be volatilized off completely and the whole metal will be destroyed. You can see the reaction. Molybdenum will react with oxygen to form molybdenum trioxide, which is volatile in nature, and the whole molybdenum metal will be converted into corresponding oxide, and the oxide has the nature of volatile nature, and it will be completely destroyed. The fourth case is porous, okay, and in this, that metal oxide formed is porous in nature. That is, it will have pores and cracks. So we can say this is a metal. We have oxygen. It has been exposed to oxygen. Then it will form metal oxide. But these metal oxide has pores or cracks in it. Through these pores, the oxygen will get into this metal and will continue. The corrosion will continue till the entire metal will be converted into oxides. So in this case also, what is happening is the whole metal will be converted into corresponding metallic oxide. So in the third and fourth case, that is, the third case was the metal oxide is volatile in nature, and the fourth case is the metal oxide is porous in nature. In both this case, the whole metal will be converted into corresponding oxides and complete corrosion of the metal will take place. Example is all the alkali metals, lithium, sodium, potassium, alkaline earth metals, etc. that forms easily the porous oxides, and the whole metal will be converted into corresponding products. Now we have a rule which tells how much will be the amount of corrosion that is taking place, or else we can say whether it is protective or non-protective. That can be understood by this Pillingbutt-Barth rule. According to this rule, if the volume of oxide layer formed is at least as great as volume of metal, then oxide layer is protective or non-porous. If the volume of oxide layer is less than that of the volume of the metal, the oxide layer is porous. Suppose this is the metal, this is the metal oxide. So if we try to compare this, we are exposing this metal to oxygen and we have got this metal oxide. Then if the volume of the metal that has been converted into metal oxide, if this is at least same as that of this volume, that is, the volume of this metal oxide formed is at least same as that of this volume of this metal, then we can say that the layer formed, the oxide layer formed, is protective and non-porous. If the volume of oxide layer formed, the volume is lesser as compared with that of the corresponding metal, then it means that there is some pores or cracks in this. So we can say that in that case, the volume of metal oxide is lesser as compared with that of the volume of the corresponding metal from which it is formed. In that case, the layer formed, the oxide layer formed, is called as porous or non-protective. So we can say that in case of alkali, alkaline earth metals, that is lithium, sodium, potassium, etc., that forms a porous layer, porous oxide layer, because of less volume of the oxide layer as compared with that of the corresponding metal. So we can say that in case of all those lithium, sodium, potassium, etc., that forms a porous oxide of less volume as compared with that of the metal, whereas the protective one like gold, silver, platinum, all those forms a metal oxide which has a volume at least same as that of the metal from which it is formed. Even aluminum can be the example. Aluminum also forms a protective layer of oxide because we can say that its volume is higher than the volume of the metal, or at least same as that of the metal from which it is formed. Next is corrosion by other gas. That was the previous discussion was about corrosion by oxygen, and here now we are going to discuss about the corrosion by other gases. Hydrogen, chlorine, carbon dioxide, SO2, H2S, all these attack the surface of the metal like oxygen. Now, for example, silver can react with chlorine to form a protective non-porous layer of silver chloride. This is one of the examples. Other example is tin reacts with chlorine to form a non-protective layer of tin tetrachloride. SnCl4 is volatile in nature, so it is a non-protective layer. In presence of H2S, iron forms FeS. This is again porous and non-protective. Even anhydrous liquids like phenols, picric acid, HF, bromine, inorganic liquids, organic and inorganic liquids, this also can attack the metal surface directly and it can cause the corrosion. So all these three types, one was corrosion by oxygen, the second one was corrosion by other gases, and the third one was anhydrous liquids. All has been discussed now. Now, let us discuss the mechanism of corrosion. That I said there are two different types of mechanisms, wet corrosion and the other one was dry corrosion. Dry corrosion, we could explain, that is dry corrosion included the corrosion by oxygen, other gases and anhydrous liquids and solvents, and here we are considering in presence of water. So when we have a conducting liquid with varying concentration, means different concentrations of oxygen is in contact with metal, or when two dissimilar metals or alloys are in contact with each other, and if it is also in the presence of some aqueous solution, in both these cases corrosion occurs. Okay, so we have a conducting liquid with varying concentration of oxygen, or else two dissimilar metals which are contact with each other in presence of some aqueous solution. In both these cases, the electrochemical corrosion takes place. Now we can see the mechanism of this. Corrosion of metal in aqueous solution occurs in two steps. One is oxidation and the other one is reduction. Oxidation takes place always at anode, whereas reduction takes place always at cathode. Oxidation means loss of electron, reduction means gain of electrons. The cathodic reaction may be either evolution of hydrogen or absorption of oxygen. So there are two different types. The cathodic reaction, anodic, at anode always oxidation reaction takes place, whereas at cathode there are two different mechanisms that can be possible, that is hydrogen evolution and oxygen absorption. Now what is now evolution of hydrogen? Now in case the evolution of hydrogen will be occurring generally in case of if the medium is acidic in nature. Okay, so metal displaces hydrogen ions from the acid solution and it evolves the hydrogen. Let us see the mechanisms. At anode, I said there is oxidation, that is Fe will lose its electron to form Fe2+. We are considering iron because it is reactive and it can generally undergo oxidation process. It loses 2 electrons, that is this is the reaction taking place at anode. At cathode, there can be two possibilities. One is hydrogen evolution and another is oxygen absorption. But in acidic medium, it forms evolution of hydrogen. That is, hydrogen evolution will be taking place. So here we are discussing about acidic medium. So at cathode, in acidic medium, these 2 electrons will react with the H+ ions of the acid to evolve hydrogen. So this is a reduction that is taking place at cathode. Always there will be reduction taking place at cathode, and at anode there will be always oxidation taking place, and this oxidation is nothing but the corrosion. The hydrogen evolution of corrosion, usually the anode has a larger area as compared with that of the cathode, or else we can say that in such condition generally anode has a larger area and cathode will have a smaller area. All the metals above hydrogen in the electrochemical will have tendency to get dissolved in acidic solutions releasing the hydrogen. So if we consider electrochemical series, the metals that are above in the electrochemical series will have more reactivity and it will easily lose electrons, and it is highly reactive or it will undergo corrosion. Okay. This is the mechanism. You can see this is small cathode and this is a bigger anode. See, this is the anodic area. This is also anodic area. And this is a smaller cathodic area. So as I said, at anode, there will be loss of electrons. So iron will lose its electron to form Fe2+ plus 2 electron. Here also Fe2+ plus 2 electrons. So this is the anodic reaction. At cathode, in presence of, see, this is acidic solution. So we can say that hydrogen evolution takes place. So for hydrogen evolution mechanism, 2H+, will react with these two electrons to form hydrogen gas. So at cathode, the reaction is nothing but evolution of hydrogen. The second mechanism is through absorption of oxygen. This generally occurs in neutral aqueous solution or even the basic solutions also. At anode, here also the oxidation takes place. Always at anode, the oxidation process takes place. That is, it will lose its electron to form corresponding ions. At cathode, here absorption of oxygen takes place. That is, these electrons will react with water and oxygen to form hydroxide ions. Now, these hydroxide ions, Fe2 plus and OH minus, these two will react to form corresponding FeOH twice. If enough oxygen is present, then this FeOH twice will react with further water and oxygen and form FeOH thrice, which we call it as yellow rust. Okay, and if oxygen is less, then it will form Fe3O4. So this is the reaction: FeOH twice, oxygen, water, it will form yellow rust. In oxygen absorption type of corrosion, anodic areas are small and cathodic areas are large. Now see the example. So here we are having cathode, large cathode. See, this is large cathode. This is also large cathode. And here it is a smaller anodic area. Okay. We can say that this is a small crack or pinhole or whatever you can say. This is a smaller anodic area. So at anode, always there will be oxidation. So Fe is giving rise to Fe2 plus 2 electron. And at cathode, in case of oxygen absorption, that is neutral, this is the case of neutral aqueous solution. So we have oxygen absorption case. So half oxygen plus electron plus water will give 2 OH minus. These 2 OH minus will react with this Fe2 plus ions to form FeOH twice. If there is sufficient amount of oxygen, it will form FeOH thrice. This rust will be accumulated over here. See, this will be the accumulation of rust. Now, because the mobility of Fe2 plus is more, this will move out to form the product as at this place. Okay, and OH minus ions are little bit bulky, so Fe2 plus ions will be moving out to form the rust. So corrosion will take place here, but the rust formation will be near the cathode. Now let us understand electrochemical series also. Electrochemical series is a table in which there is standard electrode potential potentials, that is reduction potentials at 25 degrees centigrade. We can see that the elements which are present above the table, that is lithium, potassium, all these are highly reactive. It can easily lose its electron, that is it can get oxidized. The metals which are reactive is present in the upper side of the table, and the at the lower side we have generally the noble metals. So we can say that the upper side we have reactive metals or anodic metals, and at the lower side we have cathodic or noble metals. And we will be taking the hydrogen as as a reference, and then above hydrogen the metals are anodic in nature, and below hydrogen the metals are generally cathodic or non-reactive in nature. So it is a series in which various electrodes are arranged in increasing order of their standard electrode potential. Thank you. That's all for today.